Welcome, cultists, to the Kingsport Festival card game, set in the same world as the Kingsport Festival board game. Except this time, you take on the role of the cultists, bent on opening the gates to the worlds beyond and summoning as many elder gods as possible. Performing your sadistic rituals will gain you the resources that you need: evil, death, and destruction, which will empower you to achieve your goal of invoking the Ancient Ones in order to do their bidding. But remain ever vigilant while working to wreak havoc, because intrepid investigators are working ceaselessly to halt your progress. To set up the game, each cultist starts with 10 sanity points. Sanity is a precious resource which must be preserved as much as possible. The pantheon of elder gods who await your invocation are arranged in the center of the play area. Next, the 5 gray domain dice, which will fuel your rotten rituals, are placed aside in reach of all players. Once the first player has been determined, they are given the white time counter die, showing its watch face. Finally, shuffle the investigator cards and draw one at random. The selected investigator is placed onto the table and will be in effect for the entire game, which is now ready to begin. Each of the game's 9 rounds starts by the player holding the white time counter receiving 1 sanity point and then passing the time counter to the player on their left, who rotates it to show the number of the current round. Then, starting with the player now in possession of the time counter and proceeding clockwise, each player takes their turn, which consists of several phases. The first phase is the expansion phase, in which the current player receives and rolls 1 gray domain die. The resource shown on the die, either evil, death, or destruction, is then added to the player's pool of available resources. They may then play any number of Elder God cards from their hand, one at a time, generating and applying its effects, as long as they are able to pay all of its applicable costs. The next phase is the Invocation Phase, in which the cultist may spend the resources that they have accumulated this turn to invoke one, and only one, Elder God. To invoke an Elder God, pay its cost and then move it into your hand. Next, if the investigator card that is in effect indicates a raid, the cultists must then resolve it before continuing further. Investigator cards indicate the 3 rounds in which raids take place. Cultists resolve raids by playing Elder God cards from their hands. The Elder Gods possess strength that is used to combat the investigators. And if the cultists overcome the investigator, then they will gain sanity points. Otherwise, the realization of what's at stake may cause them to lose sanity points instead. At the end of their turn, the cultist returns all of the cards that they played to their hand. And when all of the cultists have taken their turn, the current round ends and a new one begins. The game ends after the completion of 9 rounds, unless, of course, a cultist invokes the Elder God Asathoth, which causes the game to end immediately. When the game ends, each player counts the total number of cult points from all the Elder God cards that they have accumulated and hold. The player with the most points is declared the winner. But at what cost to their sanity? Will your devious deeds end in defeat for you or the rest of mankind? take a stab at unleashing untold horrors upon the world in the Kingsport Festival card game. Because why settle for the lesser